So today we are in an extraordinary show with an unusual opportunity to speak about Black history and with the social entrepreneur Rijole. Rijole, you started this project and you are propagating this idea. Could you please introduce yourself and what you do for business?
Hi all, thank you for the invite. First of all, my name is Rijole. I am the founder and director of STEAM Power, which is a social enterprise that wants to change the narrative around STEM. Many young people in the community, in the African Caribbean community, believe that STEM, the STEM field, is not a place for them, is not a place where they belong. And purely the main reason is because they don't see it represented in that field. The majority of the people that work in this field is either white, middle class, and tend to be men. And so in order for us to change that narrative, we want to show people in the community, young people in the community, that you have women working in the field, that you have people from around the world, from every corner in Africa, South America, around the world, that are not necessarily white, that are actually in the field and that are contributing enormously to the advancement of everyone on the planet. That's the idea.
So what do you mean
So
exactly by STEAM?
STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. That's what it
And,
stands for.
and how does that like relate to the Black history?
There, many people don't know that you have a lot of Black scientists that have contributed to the world STEM. And that's why myself as an adult, actually, I found out as an adult, as a child, I didn't know that there were Black scientists. I never met one, I never knew one. The only images that I saw were people on TV, either you were a slave, or you were a maid, or you were committing crime or dying, but everything not within the not as someone that was contributing positively to their community or to the world. So that's how it started.
Why is it beyond October?
Because most of us, like myself, we are Black all year round. And I think to celebrate our contribution just 1 month, which is the official month here in the UK, is not positive for people in my community. It can be it's understandable that other people might not want to celebrate and they don't have to, but coming from my community, I think it's important that we acknowledge that for every day of our lives we're making a contribution and that we're making a history. So it's not only about talking about the Black people that came before us, we also need to talk about the people that are making a difference now, either in politics, either in sports, science, and banking, financial, whatever you name it. We are here.
So speaking about your environment, how would you recommend creating a suitable environment inside the classroom?
In terms of classroom, I think if you are, let's say, in the very diverse community, you need to look at the population of your classroom. Where do they come from? What languages do they speak? Are they what even social status are they? What language? Well, I'd say that what language, but also where in terms of likes and hobbies, what do they like, what are they into? Because when we talk about diversity, it's not only about race, it's also about the whole person. What is it that they like about so you can engage with them as a teacher? Because as a teacher, sometimes you think about the things that you like as an adult and you struggle to put yourself in the position of your children. So making an environment where they can relate is really important. So if you are in a position to provide books, put them in the book corner. If you have toys that are representative of those children, just put them in somewhere where the children can actually access them. And then when you are teaching, just make references to where those children come from. So here in the UK, if you are in London especially, you have children from all over the world, basically. And we tend to do is when we show a presentation, the different images that we show are actually relatable to the children that need to engage with that learning. If you are looking at something and you need to learn from it, and then what you are looking at is not inspiring you at all, you are going to disengage completely. You won't pay attention, and probably you disrupt, or you won't academically, you won't make any progress. So it's really important that children have a connection, that you as a teacher build that connection with your students.
So in terms of resources, like from where can practitioners and educators like gather or get these activities or resources, Riholi?
So from a wider perspective, if you were to look for things to do with science, you can probably follow me on social media, because I share content that way at Steam Power Ltd. Or there are other organizations as well that provide not only resources, physical resources, but also put together events and workshops. And I sometimes work with other organizations because, you know, history is so vast. There's no way one person or one organization is going to be able to share that amount of information with the world. Is impossible. But if you are, depending on where you are as well, if you want to document the history of Black people in Britain, so you have plenty of organizations here that do that, like let's say Black History Studies, on the Black curriculum, trying to get into schools. You have also Academy Achievers. You have a lot of people trying to make a difference. And then on the mainstream side, you have organizations like Twinkle, where where that are providing resources that are diverse, cultural diverse, and it's a good place to be to go. And you have to pay to access some of those resources. And how I started was actually Google search. That's, if you want like a specific person that is not even in history books, let's say someone that you know in your local community that deserves that platform or that recognition, you have to create it yourself. And that's how I started. Before Google, or actually was so easy to find information in Google, I would actually create my own resources. And that's how many teachers started. And to this day, I still do. I've created a pack, forensic workbook for children, where the children can learn the basics of forensics through a series of activities. That's not available on the on Google. Let's say you Google search, okay, forensic activities. You might find activities, but you will have to pay for them. And then in terms of in the context of Black history, or how Black people have influenced the world of forensics, but you won't find anything unless you do a very diligent search within the organizations that I've mentioned. And one thing that I want to add is that if you want to document Black history, it's not only African American history and even Black history the only reference points. You have other countries as well where Black presence is still today is present, and also has been through our history. However, the governments and the policies and whoever is in charge don't want to share that piece of history with the rest of the population. And sometimes it feels as if Black people, the African communities, are not contributing anything to what's happening in their around them, which is a real shame. And I think it harvests a lot of racist views towards towards the community, because every time you see a Black person being shown on the TV is something negative, and that feeds the subconscious of many people, including in my community, who start to believe that, hang on, these people are not good for anything, or we are not good for anything. You understand? And that's a very dangerous narrative and mindset to be in, where you start to internalize the hate and the guilt. So, with education, I think we can reverse those feelings, and we can actually foster a much more growth mindset among the community, among the people, all kinds of people.
Okay, so my question here, Riholi, do you think this is a result of, let's say, the mindset, the mentality of the Black people, or is it the trend worldwide?
What do you mean?
Excuse me?
What do you mean? Sorry, I didn't get to understand the question.
I mean, is it the mistake of the black people that they do not defend themselves enough, that they do not produce themselves or represent themselves in a suitable way, or is it the trend of the societies where they live?
I think when you look at where black people live, for instance, here in the UK, the narrative is controlled by the media. And the people that control the media are people that don't look like me. The media is a very strong tool to dictate how people see themselves, how what people know of the world, and what it's wanted to know of the world. Because the media that dictates everything, how what happens right now, and I do not know of any black owned medium where we are in charge of telling our own story. And that is the main problem. As you don't control the media or any media outlet, you are at the mercy of other people's interpretations of what you do, how you do it, and why you do it. And I think because we live in the age of images, whatever image is put in front of people, that's what people are going to absorb and are going to interpret as rule of thumb. Oh, this happens because X, Y, and Z, because this person did that. So there's never uh, um, a place where people can actually um, detox from all this negativity, because at the end of the day, regardless of what's being put out there in the news, everything has to be negative. That's how you scare people, that's how you control people, and you get people in general to do what they want and to feel what you want them to feel towards certain issues or certain people. So I
Okay,
wouldn't say,
yeah,
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 I
yeah. Go
wouldn't
ahead.
say that. I wouldn't say that is black people's fault, but I must say that there's some element of involvement in it.
So, what are your recommendations to, let's say, modify or resolve the issue?
I think your platform is a good platform because you are allowing people to share the story and to share their views. And YouTube in general is a good place where people can actually put out their own views and do their own broadcasting, showing their own perspective and the perspectives of the communities. I know that YouTube is a very small, well, it's a big platform, but anyone that starts a channel on YouTube, you are like a, how you call it, like a needle in a haystack. It's just, it's just, but it's a start. It's a start. Then you have other places like Vimeo. You can start your own channel there. It's all about using social media to change the narratives. You are like the David against Goliath, so to speak. But you have to start somewhere, and those avenues of social media, if used correctly, is a perfect way of showing the world that look, this is happening. This is happening. It's not all negative. We are not all this way. And you open a dialogue with people that probably before would have been a bit close minded about it
Do
or
you think,
defensive about it.
yeah, do you think that education is the suitable key or the suitable method to like get the people know more about diversity?
I think I think education is important, but also you as a human being, you look around you, you look at your community, and you have to ask yourself questions. You cannot be fed constantly, we cannot be fed constantly. We have to ask questions, and the level of our questions also will actually determine how willing are we to get to know other people as well. Because I know for a fact that in Spain was 900 years under the rulership of the Moors, but I was brought up in Spain. I was born in Spain, and I never heard that in the textbook. So that is so there are some efforts in which the government is actually trying to erase that. So so going back to your question, we have to share our perspectives and we have to make our voices heard,
And
and there has to be a start.
what kind of contribution or what kind of help would you expect from the other Black society members? in your country and in other countries as well?
I think the starting point, like in any community, is to share information, to share, and to communicate. Because even though we might be separated or divided through borders, I think the problems that I might face in Spain are similar to the problems that someone, a black person, might be suffering in Britain or in America or somewhere in Africa in general, or in any other place. So it's really important that we talk. And I think the internet has provided that platform where I'm able to talk to someone like yourself. I've been able to talk to people from Venezuela, people from Colombia, people from the United States. And prior to that, I didn't, there was no possibility of doing this. And I think people are awakening to the fact that the internet is more than just a place where you are looking for entertainment. You are looking to connect with your community and connect with your history as well.
So my question here is, we have already seen a black-skinned president in the USA. When can this happen in the UK?
Well, you have, I think someone has been appointed as a, I can't remember the name, but he's been appointed in the cabinet. To be honest, to be honest, for me is this: if let's say that the Moors were in Europe for a very long time, there's always been some form of black leadership within Europe. When the Romans were here in Britain, there were black generals ruling certain areas of Britain under the Roman Empire, and the same to be true in certain places in Africa and across Europe as well. So when you talk about black leadership, I know that black leadership is not new. It didn't come with Obama. It came way before Obama. Centuries and centuries of black leadership and rulership, not only of Africa, but many parts of the world. So for me, it's just another chapter.
So, how are you helping with showing the contributions of Black people through Steam Power?
Right now, I've started a campaign and I'm calling on black women especially that want to share the story, how they became doctors, how they became professors. And so far I've been approached for several because they would like to share the story with young people. Young people need to know that black people in science do exist, especially women. And so I'm calling on anyone in the field that wants to share the story to inspire, motivate, and empower young people so they know that it is possible and that there's a place for them where they can make a huge contribution to their communities and to the wider world.
It has been more than amazing and more than inspirational talking to you, Riholi, today. Thank you so much for
Thank
that.
you, thank you, thank you very much.